Hi, everyone, and welcome to our last week of new content in environmental science. This week, we'll be studying the content of Chapter 16, which is about renewable energy. The content page includes some learning objectives, some terms to know, and then some resources to help bring to life some of the content from Chapter 16. This week's discussion is going to ask you to state and defend which source of renewable energy is your most favorite and your least favorite. So here's some high quality resources that I recommend you use to inform yourself. There's also a ton of information about this in your book. Please make your initial posts in this discussion by Wednesday and your follow-up posts by the end of the day on Saturday. This week's lab is also about renewable energy. You will see a pros and cons table in the first tab. This would be a great thing to fill out early in the week before you make your initial discussion posts to help you sort of organize and make sure you understand what we mean by each of these forms of energy, and then some of the pros and cons. The next thing you're going to do is look at some data displayed on maps, and specifically you're going to look at the state of California, and you're going to see for each of these forms of renewable energy, geothermal, hydrothermal, this is stream development, so thinking about hydroelectric power. For each of these forms of energy, you're going to look at the map and you're going to think about, which region in California has the highest potential for that particular resource, which seems to have the lowest, and then describe the values in those regions. So you're going to fill this out for a bunch of different forms of renewable energy, and then on the last tab, you're going to write a summary table where you choose a form of renewable energy that you think should be used for each of these regions of California. So based on the pros and cons that you listed, and then also based on your analysis of the potential for each of these renewable energy sources in the state. I'm going to go back to the module view. So in addition to a discussion and the renewable energy lab that we just looked at, there's a practice quiz and also a graded quiz in this week's module. I recommend that you do the practice quiz to get ready for the graded quiz. I also wanted to point out that there is a lab report on the climate change data set that you analyzed last week, specifically just part 2 of the climate change lab, that Lake Mendota ice duration data set. So I put this in the week 12 module, although it's not due until Thursday of week 13. So Thursday, May 23rd is the due date for this lab report. I also put a 5-point exam readiness check in this module. This, like the quiz and the lab and your final discussion posts, is due Saturday at the end of the week. This is just a way for you to kind of focus on the exam 2 content and to reflect on what you might need to work on. It's also an opportunity for me to give you some feedback about some study tips. So please work through this material, and the majority of these things are going to be due Saturday at the end of the day. The exceptions are going to be your initial posts in the discussion, which are due Wednesday, and then this lab report isn't due until May 23rd. I also wanted to point out that the week 13 module is also going to unlock and be available for you during week 12. And I did that so you would have access to the exam 2 information sheet and also this optional exam 2 review discussion where you can post questions that you have about the upcoming exam. That's also going to be due on Thursday, May 23rd. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions.